Hi, this is Shapal Sengupta. A few days back, I talked about India's economy, some aspects of it. A copy of that video is given in the description box below. Today's video is, in a sense, a continuation and an addendum on that. Let me begin by repeating what was already stated there. The GDP numbers was very encouraging for Q1, quarter 1 of this year, at 7.8%. Now, after that, a few of my friends have raised the query, what's the use of rising GDP if the lot of the common people and the poorer people doesn't improve? A one line answer to that is that over the last 2.5 decades, data shows that there is a very close connection with healthy GDP growth and reduction of absolute poverty. World IMF or World Bank, it has shown that India's extreme poverty levels are dramatically getting reduced. Now, going on to some other developments in the last few days, let's look at it. Mostly, it has also been positive. The first thing we shall look at is inflation. Inflation has slightly softened from 7.44 to 6.83. This is called the retail inflation or headline inflation. It is mainly reduced because there is some amount of reduction in the vegetable prices. All of this we have experienced ourselves. Then we'll also talk about two other types of inflation and what is the correlation. Next, we'll come to wholesale price index or wholesale inflation. It has changed from minus 1.36 to minus 0.52. Why this is minus and the retail is plus, huge plus? Our comfort range for RBI for the retail inflation is 2 to 6%, median being 4%. It's still higher than that at 6.44, whereas wholesale inflation is at a negative range. Basically, these two represent, there are two main differences. The wholesale price index represents the input cost of farms or other producing agents, and retail price represents the consumer price that we pay. That's it. Shows this huge difference. Shows normally they should move in the same direction. Mostly wholesale price index under most normal condition is less, but here it's in the totally different direction. It mainly shows that there is some market functioning. There may not be. It is very ideal. One aspect, of course, we can easily see, we have read, is that the farmers are not getting paid properly, whereas the actual vegetable prices in the market are very high, which means middlemen are pocketing huge profits. These are some of the problems. Now we'll come to the core inflation. What is the difference between core inflation and other two inflation? Core inflation is the rate of inflation without the food component taken in. This does not include the food component and the fuel cost. These two are the most volatile aspect. Without these two volatilities, it is now at 5.2, rather comfortable range. Sorry, it is 5.06. It is down from 5.16 the previous month. Now, core inflation is more or less a little more stable. The other two changes are mainly headline inflation or retail inflation, mainly changes on account of these two. These two factors which change very frequently is fuel cost and also the cost of food items. Now we shall look at the next item, which is also positive, purchasing managers index. This is an index mainly brought out by S&P Global. PMI indicators are manufacturing, it is 58.6, up from 57.7 previous month, and services 60.1 down from 62.3. Though it is down from the historic high level services sector, it's still very high. 60% is no joke, it's very high. I'll tell you, for those who are interested, how this PMI is calculated. It is basically based on the response of the CEOs of big companies in these sectors, how they look at the market in the coming months. Their responses are different, are categories like positive response. If they say it's going to improve, then it is a positive response. The neutral response, they say it is going to remain unchanged, and then there is a negative response who say it is not, it is going to deteriorate. 50% plus shows their outlook is that economy is improving, otherwise it is contracting. Based on this, PMI is a fairly indicative measure, so it is reliable. It shows 58 and 60 is very, very high. It shows that economy is going in the right direction. I'll give a slightly more detail about it on your screen. Another good development is the index of industrial production, which has gone up. This actually indicates that our manufacturing sector will continue to do well in the coming months. So we can right now, hopefully, our Q2 figures will also not disappoint us or the RBI or the government for that matter. There is yet another good news on the front of employment. SBI's EcoRap, one of the most trusted source of economic data in India, shows that net addition of payrolls from EPFO data, ESI data, etc., new payrolls created, expected creation for this FY24, that means financial year 23-24, is approximately 1.6 crore. That means 1.6 crore new formal jobs being created in the this financial year, out of which absolutely new entrants to the market, because this 1.6 crores also includes those who have come over from the informal sector, that is new formalization, and it also includes who had been out of the system and have come back. But the totally new one out of this includes approximately 75 lakhs total new entrants. These are absolutely freshers to the formal job market. They were not even in the informal sector. Now, while looking at the data, please remember that most experts, most surveys indicate that in our total job market, the formal sector employees represent a maximum of 10 to 15% of total workforce. If this is the increase in formal sector, my own assumption is that fairly good number, proportionate number, or weighted proportionate number must have also been added in the informal sector. So it is definitely a good news on the employment front. Now we'll come to, as usual, our pain areas, areas of concern. A big area of concern is crude prices. The last I checked, even today, it had, in fact, intraday that I was seeing when the movement, at one point it had touched $93.99 per barrel in the Brent prices. So I don't know, now it may even have crossed 94. So that is going to hurt our economy because we import some 86% of our requirement of oil. Secondly, add to that the pain points is that I mean Rupee, value of rupee vis-a-vis dollar is again going down. For each $1, the last I had seen it was 83.03. So these two are both our main contributory factors for oil prices domestically. So it's going to hurt our economy. There is no two opinion about it. And hurt in the sense of either driving inflation upwards, or if it drives inflation upwards, it will really drive consumption downwards and GDP downwards, obviously. Secondly, is that uh, it will really disturb our foreign exchange balance position. Now we come to the other point of concern, that is monsoon. August was really very bad. August 2023, we had seen the worst monsoon in 122 years. There are varying estimates that the rainfall shortage in August was between 32 and 36%. It had affected rain deficient districts, and 42% of our districts were rain deficient in August, and our reservoir levels were down compared to last year by 20% to 23%. The saving grace are, in spite of this, our reservoir balance still is approximately 90% of the average of last 10 years. Another major saving grace, based on the report up to 8 September, is that monsoon in September has been good. Mother Nature has been kind to us, and beyond 8 September, what we have seen personally or reports seen in the papers, TV, is rather good. So it will particularly encourage the kharif crop. So far, reportedly in August already we had some negative reports, especially definitely in the coffee area. Coffee, they said it will go down by about 20%. Then sugarcane production will also be negatively impacted, it is claimed. Now, for this kharif crop, acreage has increased by close to 3% sowing area, and then sowing area has also increased for soybean. So, if kharif crop increases, acreage increases, sowing area, it mainly benefits Punjab, Haryana, and the eastern states, including my own state, West Bengal. Also, Jharkhand, Bihar, Chhattisgarh, and Odisha, parts of eastern UP. These areas will be benefiting because of this better rains. And also because of soybeans, largely Madhya Pradesh, and to some extent the Deccan Plateau also. So this is good news. Taking all of these considerations, I do not know much, but my interaction with a few persons who know it better, they think that finally agriculture sector output may not really go down. Even if it goes down, it would be only marginal overall. But looking at the overall global scenario, where food prices are in almost historic high, mainly because of continuing war situation in Europe, will not go into that. There is a real danger of food prices going up. If food prices go up, it will, of course, inflation and mainly consumption, people's consumption will go down. If private consumption goes down, naturally it will impact our GDP negatively. So this is a huge concern even today, even after monsoon is good in September. So far, so good. Let's keep our finger crossed on this. I'll end today's episode on this note, that overall India looks poised to achieve at least the stated goal of RBI, or RBI's target of 6.5 plus for this year. Let's wait and see.